So do you feel like you almost like healed your body through like your mind, like through visualizing it?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I
so
I
cool.
was I was really determined to experience this year,
Hmm.
and yeah, and it was amazing experience how much you can do with your mind.
My name is Andrew Smith.
All right, guys, welcome to the Success with Smitte podcast. I got an awesome guest here today. Her name is Karolina Tomaszewska. I hope I pronounced her last name correctly. Karolina is a world-class pianist and a music teacher from Poland who's risen to the top of the world's most talented musicians. And she had her debut in Carnegie Weill Hall in New York in 2015 and has performed in numerous musical festivals and international competitions around the world, such as the International Music Competition in Corato, where she got her first place, she got first place and received the title of the absolute winner. She got second place in the International Piano Competition, American Protégé in New York, and she got third place in the Rome International Piano Competition and Chopin Roma. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly or not, but yeah, and she also got the special prize in international piano competition in Brest and several others. So as you can tell, she's a winner. So welcome to the podcast, Karolina.
Thank you so much for invitation.
Yeah, my pleasure. So yeah, tell us a little bit more about yourself, or maybe anything I might have missed.
Yeah, so as you said, I'm a classical pianist, and currently I am studying in Paris, my master degree. I started playing the piano when I was 7 years old, so this journey is already it takes already quite some time. And yeah, as you mentioned, I took part and was able to win several piano competitions around the world.
Awesome. So I'm curious, like, what is like when you're preparing for a piano competition, like what does that look like for you?
So the big piano competitions are mostly each 3, 4 or 5 years. The smaller ones are, of course, like
Oh wow.
each year. So it's really tricky to plan the preparation well when there's like such a long-term goal. So what I would say, there are 3 most important elements to schedule, to think about. This is just music preparation, mental preparation, and body preparation.
Hmm.
Music preparation starts, of course, with having the bird eye view on the whole preparation, like choosing repertoire and having the stages. For me, it's like learning notes, then self-recording, and then performances, like mock performances. So this is like three stages. And besides this repertoire work, for me, it's really important to have technical work. So working and deepening also my fundamentals. So this is really, really important. And also checking and analyzing the smaller goals. So this monthly goals, then weekly and simply daily goals, even by
Hmm.
each session, if I achieve my goal or not. So then I can better navigate on or see if I need to adjust something or not. So this is how how looks music preparation. Then there is a mental preparation, and in my case, it is meditation, cold showers, inclusive awareness exercises. This is really important and it changed a lot.
Hmm.
Also having like affirmations, and that works also for me, and having this performance goals and also the goals for the lessons with my mentors. So there are like specific goals which I am achieving along the way. And the body preparation is super simple. It's just sleep routine, sport, movement, and like chosen diet. So these are the elements. What I would say is really, really also important is that the challenge during the preparation is not to get burned out before actual competition, because preparing music takes so much energy, not just this intellectual one and simply just the energy from the body, but also the emotional energy. So in my case, really helps, taking care of my mental health simply, but also creating joy and happiness is really, really important, and planning the recovery time.
That's awesome. So I'm kind of curious, like, how does, let's say, cold showers, like, how does that translate into the piano aspect of it?
Yeah, so it translates in that element that during a cold shower, I am practicing deep breathing, right? Because there is this shock of the coldness that my body wants to react somehow, right? But when I am deepening my breathing, then I can calm my nervous system. So that's the same feeling that can happen before going on stage, some shaking or something like this, right? So when I am like daily doing those cold showers, then like just starting breathing, my body is already calming down. So yeah, this is this conditioning.
Okay, because I actually recently started taking cold showers again. I used to take it a lot during like my swim season and stuff, but I just started getting back into it. Like I've committed, okay, every day I'm gonna take a minimum of a 5-minute cold shower. And are you familiar with a guy named Wim Hof? Have you heard of him?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, because he's kind of the guy who got me into the cold showers. Like after practicing his method and doing that, I was like, dang, this is actually really awesome. And so I was curious if that was maybe where you got your like the idea from.
Yeah, the same. And because this year I really was doing this from January, like really daily, and I see a big improvement how it helped.
Yeah, I can imagine, because especially like just relating it back to my swimming, with when you're any competition, really anything you have to perform for, you're gonna have like those nerves, the butterflies, things like that. And the easiest way to have control over that is just to be able to focus on your breath, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. And recently what I also discovered is this inclusive awareness, because before I was shutting myself down to the things that were around me and also to people on when I was on the stage, right? So I was going into this really laser focused mode, but it was really detaching myself from the reality. So that's why I was getting actually more nervous. So inclusive awareness is about including actually what's around you and what you can feel. So can you feel space? Can you feel your clothes? Can you feel the floor, right? Like all the elements, and can you see actually those things? Because before I was closing my eyes, I can play also with closed eyes, it's not a big deal, but I was closing them to actually detach myself from what was going on around me. So by having all those elements which are coming, through different senses, then your nervous system's actually calming down, because it's okay, it's getting more and more familiar. So there's breathing exercises through these cold showers, but also like simply doing this before my piano warm-up, and this inclusive awareness exercises helped me immensely, really, with the like kind of anxiety before going on stage.
That's really interesting, the inclusive awareness. I never thought about that, but it reminds me a lot of visualization, because I know like for swimming, when I used to visualize, it was like be aware of everything that like you're gonna see ahead of time. So obviously you're like in your head, you're thinking, okay, like what are like the sounds I'm gonna hear? Or even like maybe there's not gonna be sound, like the silence of the audience waiting, or like what the texture of the piano, or maybe like the smell of the air, things like that.
Exactly. And actually it's really logical how it works, because if you give so many information to your brain, when you really feel this, then your brain is not focusing on those thoughts that are anxiety based, right? Because you have like, okay, I need to feel my clothes, I need to feel, so many details. And when you do this before the performance in a really like detailed way, not just generic way, then you can get calm really, really quickly. So that was really a great discovery for me, because before I was thinking I need to be, like so focused on what's here and just here. And it was actually like blocking my movements, because when you are more open, like even here, right? So then your vision is broader, and then my movements are already more free. And when I just focus, and my head is going in like this, so then there is like this balance in my body, and all other elements, and I am getting tensed, Yeah, so it's and my breath is getting shorter because of this position, right?
Right.
So everything is connected.
Actually, that's really interesting. Is posture a really important aspect of piano playing?
Super, super, super important. I can't even say how much important it is. Yeah, it's really important because just when the body is well aligned, it's much more easy to play. Of course, like there are great pianists who can also play even though they have bad posture. But it's much easier to play when everything is aligned. So yeah, for instance, when I cannot play now because it's too late for my neighbors. But
Sure.
when you play like this, right, then you have like 6 kilos in front, right? So then it's much more difficult to balance your body. But when the head is well balanced on your neck, then going to the spine, it's the weight delivery to the chair is different, and you can have like really great support actually to do some chords, for instance. So there are many like small details which affect in the posture, which affect how you play. So it's really important not just to know those elements, you know, how simply the body works, the anatomy of the body, but also to learn, like to teach yourself how to feel this, so to be really sensitive, because during like stressful situation we tend to not feel, actually, you know, like not feel how we feel because you are so focused on fight or flight, right?
Right.
So here when you start to feel your body, then you can better adjust it. And of course the gateway is firstly breathing.
Yeah, that was really interesting. I never thought of because I guess from someone on the outside who knows like nothing about piano, I'm just like, oh, all it is just you move your fingers, and obviously there's a lot of like mindset stuff. But yeah, that's really interesting how much posture plays into that. Because I mean, even I feel like in all sports, even like posture is so important. Because even just like in my swimming, for example, my coach used to always preach to me like, hey, like focus on good posture, like everything super good alignment, because then that's like when you're most efficient, and I'm guessing that goes for everything.
Yeah, and also like for instance having activated those deep support muscles and not the superficial muscles, because when I have like this up superficial muscles too tense, then my, you know, like this movement sideways is not as fast, but they need to be relaxed, and just the deep support muscles need to be activated. So, you know, and also I can tense them differently, and this is like which sound I want, I need to have this amount of the tension. So this is, you know, like also playing how much, and also for instance the breathing during playing, the speed of the breathing changes according to the things that I want to achieve on the piano. So there are many elements, but also like simply as I said, understanding how the body works. So for instance, some people think that you know, when we have like fingers, so it starts like from here, right? Like we're moving from here because it looks like here, but actually the joint is here, right? So when you move from here, it's much faster than if you move from here, because here is nothing. You know,
that's so interesting.
So really understanding, or with the like many things, or like with the head, that the position comes from here, like this is the placement of head, not like here. This is the last joint, right? So so knowing all the small details is changing your balance in the body, and allows you to achieve more things with more ease on piano.
Dang, that's actually so cool. I never saw piano like this, but this is really cool to like learn about it in this way. What about for like recovery? What do you do to help yourself recover like between piano sessions? Because I know especially like I'm sure it's emotionally draining and like mentally taxing. I mean, maybe even physically. I don't know if you get like your muscles tired from playing physically, but like what do you do for recovery?
Okay, so there are also pianists, and I had also like many injuries from playing. So this is when there was the overtraining thing. So yes, it's really demanding with for the body, especially because we need to do so many repetitions, and this like repetitive movements and repetitive shapes of the hand. and especially when, for instance, the technique is still not well understood, then of course the injuries can happen. So firstly, I will describe how it is in the case of the injury, like re-injury, how the recovery works here. So it's really important, of course, to have this really good doctor and that stuff. But what I discovered is really important. It's simply to keep working mentally on the on the repertoire that we are doing, and also to visualize the healthy, strong hands, because there's also like some other like notion ideas to have break, relax, blah, blah, blah. Of course, just, for a short time, it's really helpful, but then for me, it's really important to keep working. And this year in March, I had like big injury, bigger. So it was for 2 months I couldn't play.
Oh man.
I couldn't even open the door without pain. It was the tendon issue in the wrist. And I really kept practicing in my head like 4 or 5 hours daily, and really, really visualizing that my hand is healthy. And like the doctors at the beginning said that maybe I will need the operation, but I didn't need it. So it was really, really great keeping this work going, and also that helped me mentally, that I am still working on playing and not having, like, I don't know, like really difficult period of time, because it's really challenging to have the injury. So these are the thoughts about the injury thing, the recovery. But the normal recovery during the day, it's simply meditation for me, breathing exercises, going for a walk, listening to not classical music. They are super simple, super simple things.
Okay, so do you feel like you almost like healed your body through like your mind, like through visualizing it?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I was really determined to experience this year. And and it was amazing experience how much you can do with your mind, and actually how I could like prepare this repertoire during the time. So what I would also say is really important to have support during that time. So I had an accountability partner who was helping me during that time, because to do this work just mentally it was really challenging, because it takes a lot of mental power to visualize all elements. So I would recommend having someone who can keep you accountable during that kind of situations.
Do you know who Dr. Joe Dispenza is? Are you familiar with him?
Yeah.
Okay. Because your story, you started reminding me of Dr. Joe Dispenza with your story, because he's all about being able to heal your body, or heal like even diseases and stuff just through the power of your mind. I was like, dang, that's so cool.
Yeah, I think what was in my case really important, and I knew it, is that I need to start it super early, at the moment when I still can recall the body without the pain, because at some point you already forget how it felt without the pain. So what I would say is start this process of like visualizing and feeling your like your hand or what was injured without the pain super quickly, because during the process, because then you can still recall those feelings.
Oh yeah, that is interesting. So I want to kind of switch topics to like when you actually are performing. Like I guess, so I'm not too familiar with how piano competitions work, but I'm guessing obviously there's like judges that score you and things like that, right? And so what are like some of the comments that the judges say, things like that, and like how do you deal with maybe if there's like something like a bad comment or something that you didn't like, or any like critics, things like that?
I think during competition is not so difficult, I think. But we have many lessons or master classes which are open to public or to other to public. So so mentor teacher is saying the comments in front of like many people, and I think this is more challenging to deal with, because with the competition you are going after performance, you know, you are one-on-one, and it's kind of easier. And here you have the comment, and you have like not so much time to analyze, and you need to do what someone is asking to you. So what was really important to me to learn is to take the information and not the emotional content. That is really, I think, important skill to learn, and also like accept the emotions that are coming with those comments. So when someone saying something that might be challenging for me, difficult, then simply accepting what is which emotions are coming into me, because then I can control them, do something with them, and not be just overwhelmed by them. This is the thing. The next is simply knowing that this is not easy, and not expecting that it will be easy. And already from that acceptance, it's actually much easier to analyze what we need to do at the moment. And then, for instance, when this is like masterclasses or competition, then as soon as it's possible, listen back to the performance and analyze those comments, because those people that are saying to you those comments are really experienced, so they have like great knowledge. And it's really important to learn as quickly as possible to see where were the mistakes, what they meant actually, to stay with the facts and not be in the head and in those emotions. So as soon as I can get and listen back, then I can think, oh, okay, so they were right. Okay, so that's great, because for the next thing I can improve. I have already this information, and not just information, oh, that was great, and what with this, right? And thanks to these comments, I can improve quicker.
I think that is really important what you're saying, because like it can be really challenging, I know, and even from personal experience, when you really dedicate your life to something, or like you put in so much effort towards something, and then sometimes hearing feedback where it's like, oh, I didn't like this, or this could be better, like it can hurt sometimes, because you feel like you've given it like literally your all, and your all maybe wasn't good enough that day. So yeah, being able to manage those emotions and stuff is definitely an important skill to learn.
Yeah, by accepting that my emotions, their emotions, what they are saying, but also like knowing that this is difficult, and this is supposed to be also difficult if you want to achieve something great.
Exactly. Did you expect to be this good, like when you started piano? Like, did you expect to be performing at like a world-class level?
Actually, my goal always was to play the best I can possibly can, and to go the highest as I possibly can. So yeah. And what is, I think, the greatest feeling is seeing and being able to compare that some challenging elements I was not able to do like 1 year ago, 4 years ago, and now it's like easy. So that's this really amazing feeling, and it shows also that the path to finding the solutions or to progress, it's not really straight. It's super obvious statement, but it's really good reminder when I see on myself how much I can do now and I couldn't do before. And I had those plans actually how to achieve, but of course they didn't work, but I navigated and find other solutions, and how now actually I can do those things. So yeah, that's really important to recall those situations to see how actually we are achieving results.
Right. And this is actually it reminds me of what Kobe Bryant says. I mean, he related this to an injury, but I think also in general, like when you're looking at your goals, or like you set like a really high goal for yourself, and like you said, obviously it's not always going to be straight. There's going to be like random things that come up here or there that you have to navigate. But Kobe Bryant, he says, like, just focus on the next step, focus on the next step, focus on the next step. and then by the time that you look up, you're already at the top of the mountain, or like you're gone a lot farther than you were before. So I definitely think that's
exactly.
a good way to approach it.
Yeah.
So one thing, like when we're talking about emotions, how do you like? So we talked about it from a judge's perspective and like handling the comments from like the judges and things like that. But what about to the audience? Like, how do you portray when you're playing your music to the audience, and also like not get super emotional like while you're playing your song if it's an emotional piece?
Yeah, that's a super great question. So there's this saying, have warm heart and cold heads or something like this. So yeah, this is super important. But the first element and super obvious thing is the preparation. And when I am preparing myself during practicing, I am testing many different options and also like extreme pictures, extreme emotions to have those possibilities to be able to play with those elements, because on the stage there's of course the adrenaline. So if I will not test it in the practice room, for instance, then on stage I can play at super fast tempo, for instance, or with the super strong dynamic because of the emotions or adrenaline. So firstly, it's really important to have all those as like all those options tested in the practice room, and not just tested for okay, done, right, but really understanding this amount of the energy and feeling okay, with this energy my arm is going like that high, for instance, or that high, so how can I land now on the next note, like clearly, and be sure that you will be there, right? So navigating this different energies. On stage, for me, what's really important to not be overwhelmed by the emotions is, so to speak, being in the music. That means really carefully listening to the sound. So I would say this is like being in the moment. So listening to the music, feeling the keys, feeling like how deeply they are going, having like as many like tactical information that I can get, so that helped me be more observant also. And this portraying and expressing emotions, finding those meanings is happening, as I said, in the practice room. And when I do this work during practicing, then on the stage I can just I can just channel what was done before, and by being a little bit more observant, then my mind is calmed and I am not like second guessing, so there are not so many thoughts, and then all those things that I prepared that I wanted to say are going through me. So yeah, this is like how it's going in my case.
Yeah, so just like making sure that everything you're practicing the way you want to play, basically, because obviously when it comes to performance time, that's like the last thing you want to be doing is thinking, and like thinking about like, oh, am I doing it too hard, am I doing it too soft? At this point you just want everything to take over and be natural, like whatever happens, because obviously you've done everything up to that point to like prepare, basically. And so it's like, okay, I've done all the training for it, so let's just see what happens. Here we go. And you start playing.
There's also like this element of being observant is really important, because then you can navigate during the performance. And there are also like many different parts of the performance, because in some places you can like really like close your eyes, really listen intensely and be super in the music, right? But when, for instance, there's like something more when you need like this control, then you can be like more observant, so you are changing this this energy with which you are you are on the stage. This is this is important, because when someone is just immersed in the music and with the emotions, it's possible to like forget the text or lose the structure of the piece. And if someone is too much controlling, then we are not experiencing this flow of the music, because it's just really thought out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Have you ever written any of your own music before?
No, I
Okay.
haven't written yet. I was improvising slightly, but this is not like routine music, so I would say no.
Wait, what did you call it? It's called what you said?
Uh, uh, Improvising, so this
Oh,
is just
improvising. Okay. Sorry,
exactly, but this is
I
not
misheard
written.
you.
Yeah, so
Okay.
this is not written music.
Or what about like whenever you visualize, do you ever listen to past pieces that you've played before to help get you in the right emotional state?
Um, this is a tricky question. So I have like different um types of the visualization. So first, super basic is during practicing. And this is like when I have one passage that I am working on, firstly I am visualizing in my head and then I am playing.
Mm-hmm.
And between like each rep it's looking like this, I visualize, I play. And then I sometimes I'm recording when this is the goal, then I listen back and then I again visualize, play, and this is like the circle. So this is the basic visualization. Then the next one is visualizing the passage, the section that I want to copy from a master. So I am listening to him,
Mm-hmm.
her, then recreating this picture in my head, and then playing. So just the next type of visualization. Another is this is the visualization which is helping me to memorize the piece. So this is I am dividing the pieces to the section, and then visualizing in my head the scores and the placement of the hands and how they are feeling. And the last, this is a visualization of the performance, the end performance. So this is, like with this, all the thing of going on stage and with the music and feeling of the keys and of all those details, as you said also, right? You're
Mm.
doing this as well.
Yeah, that's really interesting about like you have different styles of visualization because I kind of relate to that a little bit with my swimming because I used to my main thing I'd visualize would be my actual like my race. Like I'd visualize, okay, this is my national meet, like this is the setting, this is like my race plan, everything like that. But I read in this book, there's like a swimming book that I have, and it was about all about visualization for swimmers, and it talks about even in the weight room, like she said, if you're gonna do like a box jump, for example, or like a jump, you're gonna jump as high as you can like visualize yourself doing it first in your head. Just see yourself feeling super light and just jumping, and then do that jump. And a lot of times, it'll probably be a better jump than you expected, even, or like you'll jump higher, or you'll have better performance out of it. So I was like, dang, that's super interesting. Like, because the way you did it with, you'd visualize right before you played that little small passage of
Yeah,
the piano. So it
yeah,
reminded me of that a lot.
yeah. Because then you are not. You are making strategic mistakes, because of
Mm-hmm.
course you can learn from the mistakes, and that would be like, okay, I play, right? And then I learn from this. But
Mm-hmm.
the other thing is firstly visualizing and knowing how you want to do this like really well. And then you play and then you are seeing, okay, so that was missing in my vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is like yeah, so I think how am I working? And it's also like I think the faster way of learning as well,
Mm-hmm.
because then you are creating all those images and then you can use just them also, because of course the music is patterned, so many
Mm-hmm.
elements are quite similar. So then you can use just those mental patterns to other things, because you really know then why something is not working or why something is working. Because when you are just uh, playing and repeating, you can miss many things. I can miss many things. I don't know for others, but for me, I can miss many things. I am not analyzing so well. But when I am recreating this in my head, I see where the like white spots are, what is not well understood. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That's cool though, because I guess I'm trying to think of like what other ways I could try to implement like the visualization in different parts of my life, like different ways of doing it. Because right now I'm actually not currently swimming. Like after college, I may do it in the
Mhm.
future. I don't know. I'm still, I guess, trying to figure it
Yeah.
out. But like for example, with my podcast, I've been trying to do a lot of visualization with it, but it's more just like, okay, I see what my end result is, and I see like what is my goal number of views, and like how many listeners or subscribers do I want, and then I just picture like what am I gonna feel, like the emotions I feel when I hit that goal, like how am I gonna celebrate, like things like that.
Mhm.
But I don't know, I guess I'm trying to figure out how else I could implement the visualization to it, unless I did maybe per episode, or I don't know.
What was helpful also for me, because my visualization is really connected to the music, but recently I also started doing visualization how I want to actually practice, like which mental state I would like to have during practicing and how I would
Mm,
like to overcome challenging stuff, because I sometimes I was saying that I am visualizing just those, like great things, but
mhm,
life is life, right? And there are
right.
challenging things. So it's also, I think, really helpful to visualize how we are going through the challenging things, because then we have
Mm,
already those prepared patterns in our brain, how we
mm,
would like to act. And when even like super short visualization of how I would like to achieve the goals during my practice session, or go through things that might not work or go as I want,
mhm,
can speed up the process. But of course, that takes lots of mental energy, right?
right.
So this is also how to plan this during the day.
But do you think that if you visualize the mistakes happening, you're or like I don't know, I feel like if I visualize the mistakes happening, it may almost encourage the mistakes to happen.
Okay, so it's like not I am not visualizing that the mistake happened, but that the situation after the mistake, like
Okay.
how you would feel
Just
and
like how you
how you would
respond.
react to react. Yeah, exactly. To not the wrong nose. No, no.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So, kind of switching topics, what do you feel like is the most memorable like moment of your whole career so far,
Oh,
or the most exciting moment, or
challenging
your
question.
most proud moment?
I would say one moment which was really challenging, and also again showed me how much we can do just with our mind. So
Mm,
I was moving to Germany for my studies, and at that time I was preparing myself for a competition, and I arrived to Germany, but there was a delay with the transportation of my piano, so it didn't arrive,
mm,
and I had just, I think, 2.5 weeks to the competition. And because I was still not a student at the university, I couldn't practice. So my friends were taking a room for me, but I am used to practicing like 6 hours like this. So, and
mm,
at school I could practice like 1-2 hours. So
mm,
this was like not much at all for me, and I was not prepared for the situation. But I was practicing as much as I could there, and then doing a lot of mental work. And it was first time when I actually started also doing it. So, and I didn't have so much time to learn, to test it, to understand it better. But I was doing as much as I can and practicing with my simply mentally. I went for the competition in Rome in Italy, and was able to get the prize there.
mm.
So that was really really amazing time for me to understand how I can navigate in the challenging situations, even
Mm,
though I didn't have prepared plan.
mm.
And how much I can do just with the mental work again.
That's awesome. I love that. That's really
Yeah.
cool. So, what advice would you have for like young like piano players who are just getting started in piano, or maybe they want to build a career out of it, something like that? Like, what advice would you give them?
Well, there are so many devices. First, I would say that to really have clear goals.
Hmm.
It's super obvious, but I think it's one of the most important thing. And
Hmm.
also have clear small goals. Um, and the smallest one as for the practicing session, and really clearly knowing what we are doing, because then we can use our time really efficiently. So and really move quicker forward. So this is super obvious, but I would say this is really important. Next thing, I would say experiment and test a lot, because really often the answers to our questions are in the places that we were thinking are or wrong, or we didn't think about them, or we're thinking, oh, it's stupid or something like this. And by experimenting, testing, but not just, okay, I will like do something, but really like analytically writing, okay, I am testing this, how it works, or even doing the recording, right? And then analyzing how I can use this, because sometimes maybe it's not the answer to this question, but the part of this will be answer to the other question in the future. So when you have everything written, and with these recordings, you can use this knowledge and become your own teacher, which is ultimate goal. It's super important also to notice that that you need to coach yourself. And also really important element which we can lose during the process is creating joy and happiness during the process, because we are spending as a musician so much time practicing alone, closed with in small places,
right?
And we need to be really self-critical to achieve anything, and creating this joy and making it a habit can really give the energy to move forward faster.
That's awesome. Those are some great tips. The second one, it reminded me a lot of what Rhonda from our group, the racquetball player.
Yeah, of course.
It reminded me a lot of what she said. Actually, I had her on the podcast earlier, like about a month or so ago, and she was talking about, for coaches, like the best coaches are the ones that teach the players how to coach themselves, basically. And she was just talking about how important that is, like being able to be your own coach, because she said, like, you're your best coach, because she was relating it to racquetball, obviously, but she was saying, that whenever you're on the court, what feels right, like what serve, or for me, maybe like if I'm behind the block in swimming, I know what feels right to me in that moment, like to do right before I jump in the water, like to get myself mentally prepared, or things like that,
Yeah, exactly. And in piano playing, actually, our mentors, teachers, they are teaching us, but they are not in our body, so they don't know how the things feel. They can look, for instance, good, right? But we can have so much tension because we are just mimicking something which is outside. But to solve some, as in other parts of life, like solve some technical issues, it might be for instance, not the mechanical thing, but the element that we are not having the clear vision of the sound in our mind, for instance, or the vision is just static, is without movement, and that can cause, we are mimicking then the movement, but in our vision it's static. So that's why we have the tension, right? So when we are just moving, then adding the movement to our sound vision, then when we are adding this movement which teacher is showing, then it's less tension. So, but of course, teacher cannot know what's going on in our head. So that's why it's really important to know ourselves on many levels.
Definitely. So I have 3 like speed questions that I ask at the end of every podcast. I didn't send I don't send them to anyone in advance because I want them to be kind of on the spot. But first question is, what is the best piece of advice you've got that's impacted you the most? I know it's not very speedy, some of these questions, but
I would say speak with your own voice. This is the most important. Yeah. Can I develop, or this is just the speed so short?
No, you can explain more on it.
Okay. Yeah. So I think in music, but in so many other areas of life, it's really important to say what you want to say, what you want to what you want to give to other people as well, because it's really original. And in the music, at the beginning, we think that those pieces are so big from such a great masters. And it can be overwhelming and intimidating to say anything from what we want. But this is what it means to be artist, to say what you understand, what you feel. And at the end of the day, we all are humans, so those emotions are shared. And just when I say what I think, what I feel, then I can give those emotions to others, to public.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And then what would you say is your favorite quote and why?
What I would say.
I'm sure there's a lot of them. That's why it's hard to pick one.
I am thinking now. I would say simplicity is the highest virtue, I think. And why? Because it's so difficult actually to achieve the simplicity, but when we achieve it, then music, like designs, so many things are like poems, books, sentences are really, really powerful. But to get to the simplicity, a lot of analysis, complexity, going through the complexity must be done.
That's really interesting. I like that though. I've never heard that quote before. That's really cool. And then last question is, what book do you recommend everyone should read?
Winning. Yeah, really. Super simply, by Tim Grover, because it shows the reality of what it takes to win, what it takes to get the results, and also how to navigate through your mental battlefield, how to get to the next level. And this book is so special as well, because he with Shari Wang, they accomplished to have so much content and the truths with not so many words. And this is also really, really powerful, with many simple but so profound sentences, which are opening the new words in our minds. And what is really also special about this book, each time when I am reading this, rereading it, I am saying something new, or I am understanding something on another level. So I would say this this book is life-changing.
Definitely. And I know a lot of the guys who are, or people who are listening in general, you guys have probably heard this book be mentioned a couple of times. So if you haven't gotten it now, it's probably going to come up more. So you're only just delaying it. So you guys need to check it out. But
yeah, for sure.
And actually, I have one more question. It just popped into my mind. So do you consider, like, any musician, like anyone who plays any instrument, would you consider them as an athlete?
Yeah, for sure. Like, this is this takes so much firstly, so much preparation, mental preparation, body preparation as well, to play like the whole like 1 hour recitals when you are just alone on the stage. And we there are not so many breaks also sometimes. So yeah, and also we as I mentioned at the beginning, we need to take care of all those mental aspect, body element, exactly. So yeah, this is as athletic performance, yeah, for sure.
That's interesting because I was curious of what your answer would be on this because I know a lot of people I feel like think that any type of instrument is not an actual sport unless maybe like marching band or something. I don't know because I used to play alto saxophone. That was my instrument I used to play in high school, and for me, like I mean, I wasn't that good at it. Like I'm nothing compared to you with the piano, but I was like, this isn't even that physically demanding for me except marching because you have to, hold it up more and like it's kind of heavy and you're walking around. But besides that, it's just moving my fingers and then just having good breath control. But
Yeah.
I mean, just like speaking to you about piano, I mean, it's definitely opened my eyes to it's given me a much greater appreciation for like musicians in general and especially piano players. And I can definitely see how that could be an athletic type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And also like when you are performing on the bigger hall, the piano is actually like it's also a big instrument, right? And when you have bigger hall, you need to project and you need to have the bigger sound. So you are using like bigger force. And yeah, so this is for sure it costs a lot of energy. Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. And last thing is where can people find you?
Yeah, so for sure on Instagram on Karolina Tomaszewska and also on Facebook simply by writing my name.
Awesome. Sounds good. And I'll put the link to those in the description so all you guys can check her out and listen to her piano performances when they come up, or maybe you can, if you have any YouTube videos or something, people can check out of you playing.
Yeah, for sure. Just by writing my name, Karolina Tomaszewska, you can find the recordings there as well.
Awesome. And yeah, thanks again for hopping on. I appreciate it. I really enjoyed the conversation. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for the invitation. It was like really great pleasure to talk to you and to share my experience on working with this guy.
Awesome. Sounds good. And if you have like 5 minutes after, I'll stop the recording. I just want to talk to you for a minute, if that's cool.
Yeah.
All right.